Well, good morning, guys. Uh, it's time to get started. Uh, as you see in the conversation there, or in the title, uh, today's my anniversary. Uh, Barbara and I have been married 53 years today. Today, October 29th, is the day we got married 53 years ago. Hey, Patrick. Glad to see you in here. Hey, Joey. Yeah. Yeah, I see that, Patrick. I've been watching you on the Facebook channel. I see you working. You look like you're filling out a little bit, Patrick. It looks like you're getting to be more of a man. Every time I see a picture of you, you get more and more mature looking. So, well, thank you, Mike. Yeah, 53 years, 53 years ago uh, today. I guess I ought to give myself a two thumbs up there. Do the old Apple thing there. Give me a little celebration blast. Uh, yeah, we. I, I think back about it, how quick 53 years has gone. I mean, it just seems like yesterday that Barbara and I were young kids, and we were young kids. We were teenagers when we got married, so it was different. Oh, you passed your CDL. Wow, fantastic. I didn't realize y'all had to have CDLs. I guess you do. I guess it's the same situation as it is here in the U.S. But that's fantastic. Glad to hear that. Uh, it's something. I don't have CDLs anymore, although I get to use all the equipment I want. I've got a farm tag on my big equipment, and I can drive it without CDLs. And I don't plan on doing anything commercially within anybody else's equipment, so I'm fine with what I've got. And I'm definitely not going to take the time to get out on the road and drive for somebody else anymore. Uh, so I'm happy, but it's good that you've got that, because over here in the U.S. it looks like it's getting tougher and tougher for people to get CDLs. I mean, they're actually making them go to school now. I mean, it used to be you just had some experience and everything else, and you could apply for CDLs. No more. I'll tell you more about the Dixie Chopper. Well, the Dixie Chopper back here. Hey, James, glad to see you in here. Uh, well, hang in there, Patrick. You can. My wife broke my heart the first time too. I'll tell you that. uh, I kind of went out with her one time, and then she didn't have anything to do with me for about a year. And then a year later, we got together again, and we've been together ever since. So hang in there. Persistence pays off sometimes. Well, that's great, Patrick. That's great. Yeah. Hey, Mac, how are you? Wait a minute. What, Joy? I'm trying to figure out what Joy's. Oh, I'm going to tell you about the Dixie Chopper. Let me turn around here. The Dixie Chopper. It's the Excalibur 367 4D, 36 or 47D. That's actually got a three-cylinder Caterpillar engine in it, and we're going through it. What we've done, uh, I didn't keep up with it as much as I should have, and yeah, yep, it's world's fastest lawnmower. It'll run 16 miles an hour. I never did go that fast with it as I was cutting. I mean, you can really fly with it though. It will. It'll go 16 miles an hour. Yep, it's got a cat. It's got the three. I'll take you over here. Let me see if I can take you over here and show you. I mean, this machine's low hours. I've only got I think 110 hours on it, something like that. But it's got a. And I bought it new back in 2012, I believe. So here's what it is. We got the belts. We're putting all new belts on it and just going through it. Jim had to take the radiator off. Well, no, the radiator's not off. Had to take all the back end of it off. And we're actually putting a new seat on it. I mean, redoing the seat. Jim took that off, cleaned it up, painted it, and I've got. Let me put this back down. And what I'm doing, I got some new vinyl material that we're going to put on the seats and everything. I put that same vinyl material on my tool cat and my big track hoe and a few other things. So we're doing a remodel or refurbish, not remodel, I guess a refurbish of this Dixie chopper. It's a great machine. It's a great machine. So we're trying to get all of my equipment in good shape. That's the job we do up here. I've got a lot of equipment that I've bought over the years, and it's good for me to get it back in a good operational situation. Yeah, I'm gonna hang on to it. Believe it or not, that baby back there was expensive when I got it. That's an expensive lawnmower, but I wanted it for the property down here, and I want it more for the property down here again because I've tried, and I have several different kind of lawnmowers. I've got some of y'all know I've got the electric Ryobi zero turn and everything too. I got a couple of those, and they're good, but this is heavy duty right here. This one is heavy duty. Yeah, now everybody give me a thumbs up now. I see I got a few out there. Give me a thumbs up. Watch this. Now on the other side. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? I got it on Amazon, Jamie. I got this the vinyl on Amazon. I forget what it's called. I had to see if I can find a link for you, but it's pretty good. I bought it two different sizes. I originally I had some that's like 17 inches wide, and that's really not wide enough. So we got the 36-inch wide, I think, so we can cover the entire seat and not have it overlap and stuff like that. Yeah, Patrick, I appreciate that. Do that thumbs up on the. Oh, the ride's real good. This has a. I would say if you remember the old, if you're a truck driver, you could remember the old Bostic seat, which is spring loaded, and it's got the big heavy duty springs on it. I mean, I can show you that. Let me turn it around. You can see the big heavy duty springs on the back side there that help give its take some of the rigidity out of it and everything. So it's the seat frame's built real stout, and that's why we took it down, cleaned it up. Jim cleaned it up and got all the rust off, all the surface rust off, and that sort of stuff. Just not to let it go downhill. No, I'm not going to drive at 16 miles an hour. No, um, and I'm definitely not a 16-mile-an-hour person myself. I'll do good if I can get out at 2 mile an hour or 2 or 3 miles an hour. I can only go 16 when I'm riding on something. But between that and my toolcat and my other uh, implements that I have, I can keep the grass mowed pretty good around here if I can. Well, that's good to know, Patrick. That's good to know. Yeah, I like all kind of different channels and everything to with equipment and uh, like I said, I look at all the different pieces and everything of everything out when you were out there. Hey, Jeff, I see Jeff's out here. I hope you're doing well. Now, who broke the internet again? I didn't catch that, Joy. Who was it in your opinion that broke the internet? I didn't see anybody that did anything great that broke the internet. Or am I'm missing it for some reason or other. Fill me in, Joey. But I'm having a good day today. Barbara and I got up and as we were eating breakfast. Oh, Al Gore. Oh, I don't know. Al Gore's broke as it is. I don't even want if Al Gore comes on. I just turn it off. I'm just not into Al Gore at all. He's not one of my favorite people. Yeah, I do too, Patrick. I like that. Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, Barbara and I, we like I said, we got married as teenagers. I was 19, she was 18, uh, and it's been a ride. It has definitely been a ride for us. Yeah, well, that's for sure, James. I will attest to that. I will attest to that. That's for sure. But I hope everything's going good. I mean, we got wars all over everywhere, and I think back 53 years, and we were in the middle of a Vietnam War then. I mean, it was sort of strange times that you would have thought 53 years later that things would have been more peaceful and things would be running right. But when I think back when I got married, we were in the middle of the war. Gas prices had started to creep up. They'd creeped up from about 50 cent a gallon up to about 80 cent a gallon, and then on up to over $1 a gallon in 1970. So I mean, we were in different times back then. Price of a house, the median price of a house was probably around 25,000 back in 1970. You could buy a decent house, nice brick house for 25,000. You could buy a car for 3,000, and uh, a good salary. I was making top money back then at Carolina Freight, and I was making $3.29 an hour, and that was good money. I mean, it really was. Minimum wage was like 75 cents or $1, uh, and I was making 3.29, which was union wages. I was in the Teamsters. It was union wages. And then I remember when I got up to $4 an hour, man, I thought I was rich. I thought I was rich at $4 an hour. Yeah, it was 1970. 1970 is when I got married. Uh, hold on a second. Get a little more green tea here. Uh, yeah, there's always hard times, that's for sure. uh, yeah, we've had some difficult times through the years in the last 53 years. We've had some difficult times. We've had some good times. Uh, some inflationary times, which we had back then when back in the late 70s when Jimmy Carter got a hold of it and everything started rising. Very similar to what we got right now. It's repeated itself again. We're into the same situation that it feels like when we were when Jimmy Carter was in. And if people are old enough to remember, interest rates got all the way up to 20%. I mean, not 7 or 8%. I mean, I'm talking about you try to go out there and get a business loan, and it was 20%, 18 and 20%. You couldn't hardly pay it back. You couldn't hardly pay it back, and that's what we got into. I think house loans were up 10 and 12%. Yeah, some of it's that's what I'm saying. It's got some similarities right now. It's not exactly the same. You can kind of judge off of it and look at history, and you kind of know through history what has transpired and what's maybe going to transpire. Because when you look at historical facts, they repeat themselves. I mean, we were having problems with Iran back then. The Ayatollah Khomeini had kicked out the Shah of Iran back in the late 70s. Captured a bunch of our people. We had some people that got captured over there back in the late 70s, and they got released. They got released right as Reagan got in, and you know, then we finally, Reagan brought a lot of recovery around. I hope we can find something like that again. Jimmy Carter didn't stay in but 4 years, which was good. He was a good man, but he was not a good president. I mean, I won't say anything bad about him as a person. He was a good person, but just because I mean, that's what some people say about Biden. Oh, he's a good person. Well, no, he's not a good. He's not a good leader. Jimmy Carter was very smart, but he just had too many weird ways about him on the inflation, and he didn't know how to control it. Well, and that's true too, James. That's true too. I don't think Biden's a good man. Some people think, a lot of people thinks he is because he's not Trump. He's not giving mean tweets. But boy, wouldn't we like to have $2 diesel fuel and several mean tweets going on right now, and not having two wars going on. I mean that. I mean, people need to look at that. I mean, that's what we've got right now. We got two wars going on. I mean, we're indirectly involved with two wars, but we're going to mess around and be involved with a world war, and that's what I'm afraid of because we're going to be just like we were in World War II and everything, where we got Japan and Germany and everything fighting at the same time, and we're the big guy trying to help calm things down, and that's what happened in World War II, and I mean, we've got to we got to get things straightened out. Well, yep, politicians do lie. That's for sure. Politicians lie, and uh, they'll say what they need to say just to get reelected and that sort of stuff. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. And that region, I mean, I'm just counting that region as one war, Jeff. I mean, Syria, Iraq, and I mean the Middle East. The Middle East is a region, and that's what we were in WW2. I mean, we were fighting wars in North Africa, Italy, and Germany, and in Japan, and we're about to. Looks like we're trying to end up doing the same thing again. And it's not a fun time to think about all that. No, and we're not prepared as we were years ago. That's the other thing. We with the leadership with Mark Milley and some of those guys. I mean, they need to get rid of that Mark Milley. I mean, he's disgusting as a leader, and in the military. Him and a couple of those other guys. There's no leadership, none that I think that I'm confident with. Yep, it sure is. Oh, did Millie retire? Okay, well, good. I hadn't kept up with that. I was hoping he would. I didn't like him. I don't know who replaced him, but I didn't like him. Well, that's the problem is if we've got like-minded people behind them, we'll be in the same boat. What we need's, some new breeds in there. And there's got to be somebody that I think that can take over. Yeah, we got to clean the wokeness out of the military. It's a problem. I mean, they've let the military get too woke, and it's going to go broke if it goes woke. It's going to go. It's just not going to be not going to be a good stable military like it should. And we've got too many of the like I said, the military industrial complex is running the situation now, not so much uh, the military leaders. I mean, they're getting tugged around by these big industrial people, telling them you need to buy this, you need to buy that. We need to sell more of this and sell more of that, and that's the situation we get into with this military industrial complex, and it's so large. I mean, it encompasses so many businesses and impacts so many businesses that uh, it has a it has a mind of its own. It has a strength of its own, and it's hard for us to control it sometimes. I didn't know that. I didn't know there's one. I'm a little bit too old for it, but I don't know. I don't know if they were ever to put the draft back in or anything like that. If they could get to people, I mean, it would be you would get a lot of the left leaning liberal young people that are crying about this and crying about that. They definitely wouldn't want to go serve in the military. Put some of those uh, redheaded, blue hair uh, or pink hair crazy women out there that are running around uh, causing problems right now. Put their butt in the military and see how they would like it. But I don't know. Uh, that's somewhere where these unemployed people could go, but they won't. I mean, they'll find a way not to help us in any way. That's usually the way it goes. Yeah, I know it. I don't think you get all these people. I mean, they made. I saw an example about it in Ukraine. They're talking about all the men and all the Ukrainian men, even if they've left Ukraine and gone somewhere else, they're getting drafted back into Ukraine, and they're telling you you've got to come home and fight. But the women, they've let all the women leave the country, and that's the difference. All these women that want to profess that they don't need men and everything else, they don't need men until they need people to really fight the war. There's very few women. I mean, there are some in certain areas. Israel's pretty good about putting women on the front line, but uh, when a lot of countries won't put women on the front lines, and that's the difference. When they actually get out there on the front lines, and it has to do with strength, and people don't realize that. And people, this woke society who values all these different things and they're throwing men and women and you know I guess one way some of these uh, woke lefty men that don't want to go in the military, they can just declare to be women and try not to be drafted. I don't know. It's a crazy situation. Um, we got such a screwed up mess nowadays. It just boggles the mind of how screwed up things can be. Well, that's true. Hey, Walter, I hadn't seen you in here yet. Well, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Yeah, they boot camp. I would imagine is different in a lot of ways, and they can't they they don't want to hurt your feelings like they used to. Used to be they'd toughen you up. They'd yell at you and kick your butt and everything else. The softer we make our military, the weaker we are because your opponent's not going to be soft. I mean, your opponent out there is going to be ready to kill you. Well, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all, James. I mean, you think about everything, and we got to toughen up the military. That I think the military is softer than it definitely is softer than it was in WW2 and Vietnam when I was of that age. Uh, my younger brother uh, Perry, he came in right at the end of the Vietnam era. Luckily, he didn't have to serve overseas, but he was still they were still toughing him up pretty good back then. Yeah. Also, you served over there in the Middle East, did you? Well, thank you for your service, James. I didn't realize you were ex-military, but yeah, it's different. It's definitely different than it was. Like I said, when I got married right in the height, or really the end of the Vietnam era, 1970. It was still going on pretty hot and heavy, but the end of it came about 73, 74, somewhere in that area. But you know, things are dramatically different in the past 53 years. 53 years uh, went by just like that, and I just it's hard to imagine. When my wife and I will tell you this: when our my wife and I got married, we lived on exactly on this spot that I'm at right now. We had a mobile home. My father-in-law gave us this plot of land that my shop's on here, and we put a mobile home on this very spot that my shop's on right now. Of course, then later, about 6 or 7 years later, we built a house on the backside of the farm, uh, and we got that, and then we've lived down here on the farm all 53 years of our married life, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad now that she and I own the farm. We bought the farm from the siblings, from the brothers and sisters, and we control the farm now, which we always wanted to. We wanted. I mean, it was our home. None of the rest of them actually lived down here like we did, so we felt a more kinship to the land than they did, and I helped keep it up for my father-in-law while he was alive, and then my mother-in-law after him, uh, up till just a few years ago. Then when she passed, we decided to buy the land from the siblings and everything. So we got about 75 acres down here, and we really like it, and it's home to us. So this shop has a little bit of uh, I guess memory for me, because like I said, my first house or mobile home was right here where this shop is, exact same spot and everything. I'm actually using some of the utilities off when my mobile home was here. Of course, we didn't have the sewer system in then, but we got the sewer system in now. But uh, we uh, we were able to initially get the water off of the well that we had when we had the mobile home here, and everything else. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat that we have gotten it to where it is. Of course, now I've got my own well here. I didn't want to. I was pulling water from across the way where my father-in-law always had it, and then when he sold that property, we still had rights to the water. But then I said, I want to buy my own. And then after everything passed, that was one of the first purchases I made. I bought that 13 acres back from the man that had bought it from our family. So it's taken me, the better part of 53 years to retain or get back what we initially wanted anyway, from parts that we'd sold off. And I did let a couple of acres and everything right in front of me get slipped away, but you can't get it all. Can't get it all. Yep. Yeah, you had to. Yeah, back in 1970, I mean, they were still drafting. I was fortunate. I had a low draft. I mean, not low, a high draft lottery number. Uh, as far as mine was like in the 330s out of 365. So I'm about as good as it gets. And at that time they weren't taking that. They would each year they would say we're going to draft up to 200s or whatever, but it never did get into the 300s. And I was lucky, because that's what me and my brother just older than me, we both hit it just that way. And we got, his birthday was in March and mine was in June, and both of us hit high 300s on the draft part. So that was really good. Yeah, I mean that's what happens. And you know when I mean you look at, like I said, you can look at uh, Ukraine, and they're drafting any, if a man can stand up and he's breathing, he's got to help fight no matter what his age is. And I hope we never get into something that dramatic, because the best military is your younger people. I mean, they're stronger, they're healthier, and everything else. But I, I would I would venture to say we would be in tough we would be in tough shape if we had to start drafting again. Yep. Yep. I'm not a senator's son either. Yep. That's the old John Fogerty song. Uh, fortunate son. Yeah. Yeah. He talks about not being a senator's son. And he was directly, I've heard that he was talking about uh, President Bush, because at that time his dad was a senator. Either him or people. Well, Al Gore wasn't even old enough back then. Uh, I don't think. No, Al Gore would have. It might have been Al Gore's too. It might have been Al Gore or George Bush or a combination of the two. Because Al Gore, Al Gore's 70. What is it? He's about 73, 74. Yeah, so he would have been right there in the middle of it too. Yep. Yeah, John Fogerty's a legend. Yeah, Patrick. I like John Fogerty. He's a good singer. Good singer of my era. Yep. Yeah, I had to get my dates right. Yeah, Al Gore would have been right there. Yeah, and his dad was a senator. Yeah, so Al Gore probably was one of them that he was singing about, and George Bush too. George W. Bush. Yeah, both of them would have been right there in the Vietnam era. Of course, now George W. did. He was in the reserves. I don't even think Al Gore made the reserves. Hey, Ag Tech. Another 3 inches of snow. Wow. Oh man, winter's coming quick for you, isn't it? Oh Lordy. All you guys trying to get your crops up and everything. Uh, I hope the harvest has been going good out there. They have to dust off the snow to get their soybeans up, won't they? Man, I tell you, yeah, I saw some friends in the Montana area. I was watching online and everything, and they were talking about some in Montana, and I guess, like I said, Canada got it too. So yeah, that's something. And here I am still in a t-shirt, Ag Tech. It's I think when I got up this morning it was 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, we're still warm. Oh, the harvest is done. Well, that's good. Hey, David. Well, I'll tell you, I don't. Gosh, 3 inches of snow would be more snow than we get all year down here, probably. Uh, we didn't get 3 inches of snow, period, down here in the South, and I want it that way. I don't, I don't care much. Of course, snow doesn't bother me now like it used to. When I was in the trucking business, not, gosh, snow would just drive me crazy. Hey, David, how are you? Oh yeah, yeah. The tires right here, like there's the tires. There's the tires we got the air into. What we had to do, I had to go get some inner tubes. That's the only way we can get them. We had to take. We couldn't make them tubeless. They just wouldn't expand enough to get out to the rim. So we had to put tubes in both of those. So it cost me $35 a tube uh, for tubes to go in that thing uh, because the cheaper tubes were just wasn't wide enough. So I had to get one that would go. That's uh, it's a 12-inch rim and it's 26 wide, I believe it is. So it's a very wide rim, and so that's one reason it just wouldn't. go. I mean, we tried our air, uh, well, what do you call it now? The air bead things. We got two of them. The blast air blaster that can blast usually it puts up a big enough blast that a tractor trailer tire it'll open. I mean, it'll put it together. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of the gang in here this morning, haven't we? Ag Tech. I hadn't seen Zach yet this morning. Of course, it's probably well, it isn't this morning for him. It's about midnight or 1 o'clock for Zach. He may be in bed. Uh, but we got Ag Tech and Patrick and David. We hadn't seen David for a while. But I'm glad we got us a good group in here this morning. Got a good group in here chatting away. Yeah, Zach's probably snoring away right now. He's down under. He's down under, worried about getting. He may have. Well, it's already Monday for him, so he's Monday morning already and getting ready to start the day, or will be in a few hours. So Zach catches me, I guess, when he's up late on a Sunday night. Yeah, but I'm glad to see Ag Tech. I hadn't seen Ag Tech. Ag Tech's getting back down where he can get in here every once in a while now. Now that most of the crops are up. Of course, now you'll be doing winter maintenance for your equipment and everything, won't you? Which time do you feel busiest, Ag Tech? Do you get busier through harvest season or repairing stuff, or are you getting busier after the season and doing the repairs that they need for next spring? So I guess they both have their good points and bad points. Yep, we all of us have to adjust to the seasons. I'm glad that I don't. Barbara and I were talking the other day. We're so glad that we don't have to adjust for anything now. Uh, we've got a pretty relaxed situation in our shop. Jim's been working either like our 55s over here. We still kind of tweak it a little bit. And then I put him on projects like this Dixie chopper. As y'all see, we're going through it, putting on new belts, rebuilding the seats, getting the mower in great shape because it's got a 74-inch cut and a 3-cylinder Caterpillar diesel on it, which is really good. I mean, this is a strong mower, real strong. I mean, it runs great. I mean, we've had it up and down the road running it, but I want to get the mowing deck in good shape. I'd let it. The belts said need replacing. It still had the original belts on it, and the belts were not cheap. I can tell you that. It's a big, thick belt, and it's about I don't know how wide. It's real wide and real thick. But the one main belt that goes from the back of the engine to the front up here to run the mower costs $136. I start saying 136,000. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured, Ag Tech. I figured that when it was harvest season and planting season, it's bam, 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 bam. It's like us uh, when I was in the trucking business. I mean, it was there it was get it fixed, get it fixed, get it fixed, rush, rush, rush. And unfortunately for the trucking problem, it was year round. I mean, it was an everyday affair, and I would have maybe a few hours on Mondays or well, not really. Maintenance was heavy on Monday, but driving was not. I mean, Monday was our slackest day, and then but Tuesday through Sunday it was Katie bar the door. So Phil's doing good. I tried to call Phil, Ag Tech. I can't get a hold of Phil. Uh, he's still in business for himself, or is he back working for somebody, Ag Tech? Yeah, I did the same, Patrick. I tried to get a hold of Phil and couldn't get him to respond. I even wished him a happy birthday and a few other things a couple months ago. Now I think you're probably like me, Patrick. He's been busy, I guess, at what he's doing, and just hadn't communicated with everybody. I hate he's kind of got out of having his YouTube channel and everything. I thought Phil was very knowledgeable on some things and probably could have really grown his channel, but I guess he didn't want to do it. Some people don't want to do that, get in front of the camera and take the time doing that. Uh, it is time consuming, so it's not a light thing. I do like to see knowledgeable people like Phil to get out there and do things. That's why I try to search out people that are that are to me would be very knowledgeable and very uh, truthful and just down to earth and forthcoming on what they can and can't do. This contrived, made up type stuff, I'm not real keen on that. And you can always seem to get that. You get people that sort of like they've got it staged. Uh, I don't stage anything. When I do something, it's part of what we're doing. That's like we're working on this Dixie chopper right now. I'm not filming much of it. I mean, we're just fixing it. I mean, I can't film every single thing, and I don't want to. Uh, it's just we fix it, get it done, and work on it on the farm. I mean, there's some certain things that we do, and I may film some of this as we go back with this with the Dixie chopper. I don't know. It might be interesting to some people, but it's good to have it and good to uh, have the opportunity to do some things. But like I said, with somebody like Phil, I always enjoyed listening to him and seeing his opinion because I thought he was real good at stuff. I'm trying to catch up on the reading here a little bit. But it's one of those things when you want to do a YouTube channel. I enjoy just doing a live uh, because I don't do any editing. The editing part of I get out sometimes. I did some the other day, and I filmed it. And by the time you edit you spend hours editing, and then you got to when you get through editing it, you got a 15-minute clip. You might take 6 hours worth of video, and you got it compressed down to 15 minutes. And sometimes you think, well, boy, that's a lot of waste. But that's what you get into, and that's what you do if you do it, realistically and everything. I guess you could produce it and get out there and stage it, and it would go quicker and everything if that's all you did. But that's not all I do. I just want to enjoy life, and I film things. And if people like what I'm doing, they'll like it. And if they don't like what I'm doing, they won't click on it. So that's kind of the way I do mine. Yeah, heavy equipment's repairs, it's hard to do. And like I said, you'll slow yourself down just to film it sometimes. And that's what, I was messing around with some stuff the other day, and it slows you down. I mean, I'm not in a production mode, so I can slow myself down and not bother me or bother the situation. But sometimes I just, you get a little bit lazy with it and you go, don't want to do that. And getting in and out and in and out and moving this, moving that. But and unless you want to hire a crew to follow you around, which I don't think I can afford that, or do I want that? Yeah, that's true. You know, you got to time out your family life and everything, and that's why you see some people drop out of this. Uh, I look at, when I do this every Sunday morning, I look at it relaxed, and I enjoy it, and hopefully the people that jump in here and chat with each other, chat with me, that they enjoy it too. I mean, I'm not the total center of the conversation. I mean, I try to pick up on the conversation and highlight it and move it on, and let everybody, chat amongst themselves, and or chat with me, and if they've got questions. And I try to keep everybody recognized in there. And I'm glad to be able to keep a core group of people that are always in here every Sunday morning. And from time to time, you get new ones, you lose some, and then somebody. I've had some that won't be on here for 6 months. Then all of a sudden they'll pop back in, and I recognize them, and or try to remember everybody. This old brain of mine, it's getting old, so it's hard for me to just look down sometime and say, well, yeah, that's Patrick from Austria, and here's Ag Tech from Canada, and here's Zach from Australia, and then the ones that give me the worst times. I get all the ones like James. I keep forgetting where James is from. Jeff Jeff's from out in California, and then Jamie's up there in Massachusetts when he's not down in Florida, and then Joey is up in New York and all that. So that's tough for an old brain like mine, but I try my best. I hope y'all guys enjoy it and everything. But I enjoy it. It's fun to carry on a conversation with everybody. James is in Florida. Yeah, okay. I keep putting James up north sometimes for some reason or other. But James, you're way better off in Florida, that's for sure. But didn't you have some ties to Michigan or something, James? Maybe I'm just now. Walter's from up north. Walter, are you? I don't know if he's still in here. Walter, he's from Michigan or New York or somewhere up there. I can't remember. No Michigan ties for you. Okay. All right. Well, that's good, I guess. I mean, I got friends in Michigan too. I got actually the people that bought my Napa store are from Michigan, and great people. They've been a great couple to work with. Uh, they still rent from me. I still own the building, and I'm hanging on to that property and that sort of stuff. But it is what it is. Well, what else have we got on our mind today? Like I said, I've taken up a majority of it this morning with my anniversary. For those of you who haven't picked up on that, today is the day, October 29th in 1970, when my wife and I got married. And she was 18 and I was 19. So we were kids when we got married. And that's scary because I've got a grandson that's down at NC State right now, freshman in college. And I can't imagine the thought of him being married at his age. Uh, it just, I guess I really, we shocked everybody when we got married so young. Of course, I put my wife on through school. She got her college education. I kind of dropped out of college. I was going to community college, but my wife was down at NC State, where my grandson is right now when we got married. And She was a freshman at NC State, and um, it's just it's crazy to think back at those times. It really is. But times were different. Times were different. 53 years ago, we didn't have as many problems. I mean, we got a lot of good things going on now, but we also have a lot of problems going on too. So it's sort of a double-edged sword, I guess. I mean, you got a lot of good things and you got a lot of crazy things too. So it is what it is. Yeah. Yep. Upper Austria. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Walter's from Michigan. Yeah. I knew there was a Michigan in here somewhere. And it's Walter. I'm gonna have to put that. I'm gonna have to burn that in my brain, Walter. The Walter is from Michigan. Now, what town in Michigan, Walter? Because, like I said, that's the couple that bought me out at Napa from Michigan, and they love it down here in North Carolina. They were wanting to get away from the cold winter months up there. Mm. Yeah, but James is in Florida, Walter's in Michigan, Joy's in New York, uh, Jamie Jamie is in Massachusetts, uh, uh, Agtex in Canada, Patrick's in Austria, uh, and Zach's in uh, Australia, and I'm trying to think. And Jeff, like I said, Jeff's in California. So we got everybody all over the globe pretty good. So we got a good mixture of different people, and I'd love to have a lot more in too. Of course, it's good to have the core of the group here too that I can pick up on, and I feel like I've had a relationship, a verbal relationship over the past 2 or 3 years, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been good. I mean, that to me is worth a lot to be able to get up and know that you got a lot of people they'll take their time to come in here and talk with me on a Sunday morning, and that feels good too. That feels good. Well, guys, I am going to. It is time for me. The old clock on the wall is telling me that I've been talking about an hour, and y'all might can tell my voice is wearing out. That's one thing I don't have is a lot of uh, strength on my voice like I used to. Uh, I've got to go this week, Friday, to have a test about my breathing because I'm having difficulty breathing, and I don't know. Of course, most of y'all know that I had the quadruple bypass about 3 years ago, and one of the veins reblocked. So I got one, and they can't do anything with it. And I have difficulty breathing at times. And as we're talking right now, I'm struggling a little bit more to even. I mean, it's sort of like somebody with asthma, you might say, and then my voice gets to struggling, and that's what I've got right now. I carry oxygen with me a lot of times. I got these little cans of oxygen, and I think it was Jeff that was telling me about those, which worked out really good. And I started buying those cans of oxygen, and um, but it's a tough situation. Headed to the beach, all right, boy. That's great. Okay. Oh, you're close to Muskegon. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know about where you're talking about, Walter. Well, guys, I am going to head it out. Here it is, 10 o'clock. I started at 9, so I have been on an hour, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Wish me luck on my breathing test this week. Hopefully I'll come back with some good results. Because I probably won't get the results because it's on Friday. Probably won't get the results for a few days from my doctor. And I appreciate it. And I'll catch y'all next week.